All right, everybody, welcome to Praetor Magic. It's Monday, which means we're doing Reflections of the Council. I'm here, joined as always. Oh, I'm Seth Cross, of course. And then I'm joined as always by my co host,
Well,
Phyrexian
as
Walker.
always, if
As
I'm
always,
not
except for that one time.
unfortunately asleep on the couch because, gosh, new jobs are hard.
Are they though?
It's a Valdor! I see a Valdor.
Oh, Valdor was timestamp guy? Awkward. So, first things first, hopefully you guys like the new overlay for those of you who are watching this with us on Twitch or watching this later on YouTube. Just figured it was time to change it up. We had the doubling season art from Battlebond for a long time, and Battlebond's been out for a long time, so now it's the Great Henge from Thrones of Eldraine, which is what we're talking about today. We're gonna be talking about focusing a little bit on some of the new mechanics from Eldraine, and then just focusing on maybe some cards that we think are super good, super splashy, etc., like that. For those of you who joined me last Monday, just me
Is that
last Monday,
Eldraine?
just me last Monday. You will remember that I talked about the Lords of Eldraine. Oh, isn't it Eldraine or Eldraine?
It's Eldraine.
Whatever.
Eldraine?
I talked about the Lords of each of the monocolors and then Kenrith himself. So we talked about Lyndon, Gadwick, Araya, Torbrand, and Yorval, something like that. Can't remember his name exactly, but close enough. And yeah, that was pretty cool. I gave my thoughts on them as a commander. If you guys will remember, I was a little on I think the white one and the green one. But black was really cool. Blue I thought was pretty consistent with what blue wants to do, and then red was cool-ish. But since Phyrexian wasn't here, taking a little nap last time. How was your
I
nap, by the
can't.
way? You never told me.
Very disconcerting.
Why? Did you wake up feeling like you'd forgotten something?
I was awoken by my wife telling me I'd forgotten something, so there was no moment of wonderment. It's like, oh yeah, thanks, wife.
Well, since you didn't get to talk about all the cool commanders from last time, and I'm not going to give you a chance this time, haha, you can go ahead though and first talk about whatever creature or whatever card I should say excites you the most about Eldraine, or at least however you want to do
I think it's still Tulane.
it. We're just going to talk about Tulane. We did
If
this
you're asking
episode
me about
already.
the card that excites me the most from Eldraine, it's still Tulane.
Other than the ones we've talked about, or at least we collectively, because again, you missed out on 6 last time.
I don't know.
What do you mean you don't know? We had
So
15 minutes to
many.
prep. These people waited 15 minutes for you to figure it out. All right,
But
everybody, shame him in the chat. Hashtag shame
um,
Phyrexian.
I like the fact Garrick's making a random appearance in Eldraine. To be honest.
We're gonna go with Garuk Eldraine first.
Yeah, the cursed huntsman.
Yeah. I do apologize. The image is a little bit off center. Fixed. Got there.
So it is a legendary planeswalker, a Garuk for
Garuk.
4,
Garuk.
a
Garuk is on
black and a
fire.
green. Imagine that I'm talking about a Golgari card for some reason.
Yeah, right.
Create two black green wolf creature tokens with when this creature dies, put a loyalty counter on each Garrick you control, and that's for 0.
Yeah.
2 tokens for 0. No negability for 0. That's pretty good.
Yeah.
And then his -3 is destroy a creature and draw a card, which, I mean, just as a huntsman, that's just good flavor that he's destroying a creature and then getting something for it.
Yeah.
And then, of course, you get Garrick with an emblem of creatures you control get +3/+3 and have trample. So I really almost see this as like drop him, hit the 0, get one of those wolves to die, and then get this emblem.
I mean, it's gonna be like it's a Golgari, right? So you're gonna have sacrifice outlets. So it's gonna be you keep the wolves up to block, right? And then end of turn or just on your turn as you go to need the ultim, you sack one of them or both of them. That way you can get up to 7. And maybe keep him around for another turn. If people let this thing stick around for more than one ult, they're either very bad at the game or just foolish. But
Yeah.
I don't know.
Jiggles is 100% right that he aces the doubling season test.
Yeah. Yeah. Comes down,
Yeah.
has 5, can ult once.
Yeah.
It's actually kind of ridiculous. I like him because he's cool, but I also don't like planeswalkers with emblems. I still feel like if we're never gonna get an answer for emblems, like we shouldn't print them as much as we do. Like we just had the Chandra in War of the Spark, where like her plus was an emblem, and it was consistent damage.
Yeah.
So if you don't kill the player, actually, do emblems go away when the player dies if you put them on other people?
I have no idea.
So I'm gonna have to look that up. I'm gonna assume that they do, like usual, like every other permanent in the game. So yeah, the only way to get rid of those emblems is to remove the player, and sometimes it's really hard to do when you're, plussing out friggin'.
New Dark saying no, they don't go away.
That's ridiculous. Oh god, hold on.
Powder's saying they go away. Uh-oh.
I think they have to.
New Dark
right?
says in her case, it forces you to make the emblems, so they don't for her, but they would for the other planeswalker. Well, obviously, it wouldn't matter if you had an emblem. Even if the emblem's still there after you're dead, it doesn't matter because you don't have any creatures to give +3/+3 and trample.
Emblems aren't permanents and can't be exiled or destroyed. Once you have an emblem, there's no way to remove it. Player may have more than one of the emblems. If you leave a multiplayer game, your opponent keep any emblem Chandra gave them. Each opponent owns the emblem Chandra gives them. In multiplayer, your opponent continue to burn after you and Chandra leave the game.
That is so stupid. I mean, that makes her even better, but it's just so. It's like, hey, I really don't like you. Here's a few of these Chandra emblems.
Well, it's each opponent. You literally just put her down and start plussing her, and you just get cumulative. All right, first of all, this.
Yeah. Hey, this isn't about Chandra, though.
Yeah,
we can agree that the emblems are a problem, and I think there needs to be a way to interact with them. I agree with that, but I just really do. It's a very flavorful card. It's a very good card for Garrick. I like Garrick a lot in general. Like most Garrick Planeswalkers, I think they have pretty good balanced design. I think this one's no different, other than maybe you can make the argument emblem is.
Yeah.
But without doubling season, the emblem isn't exactly like the easiest thing to get to. It's also not the hardest thing when you have black, but it's not the easiest either.
Yeah. It's less conventional than your typical Planeswalker Ultimate, where you just plus it until you ult it, right?
Yeah.
So there's more that you do have to jump through more hoops, so I guess that's a good thing. But again, like in this color scheme, this is not super hard to do. Like we were just talking about doubling season, or what about Parallel Lives, where you get 4 of these wolves? You know what I mean? Like stuff like that. And again, it's
or doubling
Golgari.
Season, where you get 4 of these wolves,
and 5 loyalty.
And 5 loyalty.
Yeah, see, this and doubling season are just automatically like, if you're playing this in doubling season, please get out off my table.
Yeah,
that's a bit much, but still. All right, yeah, I mean, I agree. Garruk's, this is and I think obviously this is gonna be a bomb in like limited and stuff. If you play this and people don't immediately get rid of it somehow, like with D-Spark or something, you're in for a bad time.
Yeah, you're in for a rough time if you're playing against this card, just because they're probably one of those little wolves is going to die eventually, and then they're going to get that +3/+3 and trample.
Yeah. For the first card that I want to talk about, I know we said we were going to kind of focus more on like the new mechanics and stuff. So for this one, I'm going to cheat a little bit because you chose Garruk first, because this is a storyline spotlight card. And as the Vorthos of the group, I feel that it's my duty to bring this to you guys. But Return of the Wild Speaker. Look at that flavor. Oh, the flavor text doesn't come on this one. God damn it. Let's.
We can read it.
I'm gonna put it up there. There. Okay, there we go. There you go. Look at that. Look at that flavor text. What does that say? It says the curse is broken. The next time we see Garruk, he's not going to be, unfortunately, he's not going to be a Golgari, but he's also not going to be a raving lunatic. So this is a rare instant for 4 and a green. It says choose one. Draw cards equal to the greatest power among non-human creatures you control, or non-human creatures you control get +3/+3 until end of turn. So it's either a baby Overwhelming Stampede or a baby Rishkar's Expertise for 5 at instant speed. That's another important thing.
Isn't it just Soul's Majesty?
No, because that's sorceries. Oh yeah, I guess. Yeah.
He's an instant speed Soul's Majesty,
Yeah.
except it's non-human.
Which,
When is your human ever the biggest creature in Blue?
yeah. Like, unless you're playing some kind of Voltron thing, I guess maybe. But like, what human Voltron in green? I can't think of any. There's not even. Is there even that many mono green? Well, I guess you don't need to play it in mono green. Whatever. Either way, I wanted to portray this because of the storyline implications. Garruk, something in Eldraine happens. Garruk gets his curse finally lifted, not just temporarily like pushed to the side or whatever happened on Innistrad when he was there. And Avacyn came out of the Hell Vault. He's just legit back. Garruk's back, guys. Come on, that's awesome. You excited for Garruk to be back? Be just mono green again?
I mean, it does hurt my Golgari heart a little bit, but he can be mono green again.
Yeah, he'll untap some lands again or something.
Yeah.
He'll be a 2-mana Planeswalker again.
He'll still make some sort of beast token, probably. Beast or wolf. That's what he's been doing. Wolves and beasts. He'll still do something like that.
What if he became like... Oh, they can't have him be the wolf Planeswalker. We have Arlen now. Come on. Come on. You know what? Wizards, don't do my girl like that. Alright, though.
We did promise we were going to talk about some new mechanics. And I'm going to actually pick the worst card with this mechanic to talk about. Which is Phyrexian Intruder.
Hold on. Let me see if I can spell Phyrexian. Yay! I did it! I did it!
Phyrexian Intruder is for... Now, this is a very pretty card with some very pretty art here.
Mm-hmm.
For a very bad card.
Yeah.
For 1 green, you can play it as a creature, and then when the Phyrexian Intruder enters... It deals combat... when it deals combat damage to a player, you may sacrifice it. When you do, you can destroy target artifact or enchantment. Note, it's a 1/2. Yes, for 1, but it's got no trample. It's got no flying. It's got no evasion.
Menace, nothing.
No menace.
Yeah,
it's not going to be easy. And I mean, in this picture, and even in the other picture, it looks pretty menacing, but it's just not menacing. Doesn't have it going on. But and then it has the adventure mechanic. And so what adventure is, it's a mechanic where you can either cast the adventure, it's either an instant or a sorcery, and you get the effect. And so in this case, it's for 7 mana, you can create 3 2/2 green bear creature tokens. Which ain't great for 7 mana.
What are you talking about? It's a great card.
Let's be honest. Clayton's right too. Ironically, those 3 bears would easily destroy the 1/2.
Right?
But yeah, for 7 mana, you can get this wonderful effect of 3 2/2 green bear creature tokens.
Can we
just 3 3s or 4 4s or something? Why did they have to be 2/2s other than bears are just always 2/2s?
First of all, you shut your mouth. How dare you insult the bears in this manner? The noble bear.
Yes,
tribal.
I insult the bears in this manner. Are you looking at this picture, sir? This 1/2 has killed these 3 2/2 bears somehow.
She doesn't even blow up bears. That's the thing that got me. She doesn't even blow up bears. Like, it's not like she could deal -2/-2 to a creature or deal 2 damage to a target creature or anything. Like, she blows up an artifact or enchantment. The synergy and the art actually make no sense. This card has been driving me nuts. I hate this card.
I don't know that it would, Clayton, because I mean, there are just better ways to make bears in Ayula than paying 7 mana to make 3 of them.
I think
even in Ayula, I don't know if this sees play, but it's pretty bad in general.
Yeah.
Maybe if you drop it out on turn 1, you can threaten somebody's Soul Ring or Signet, but then it still gets sacrificed when you do. So
yep,
you can only get 1. I mean, but the bottom line is you can cast it for the adventure, get the effect, and then after you do that, the creature goes into exile. As long as it is exiled for playing the instant or sorcery, then you may play the creature. Which actually makes some of these cards pretty cool. Just not this one. This one's just it's real bad poop. But...
Oh god, New Dark, please no. Let's.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
It's a Grizzly card for sure.
And we can barely contain ourselves.
Oh my god, please stop.
He's got the puns. That's fine. So we could talk about some other ones, right?
Do you want to talk about adventure specific cards?
Yeah, let's talk about some adventure specific cards. Some adventure cards that might actually be good.
Actually, how about this? Why don't we find a card where adventure is a payoff? Not necessarily an adventure card itself, you know what I mean? But there are some cards where casting an adventure card gives you something, right? So the one that I think is probably honestly the best is Edgewall Innkeeper. And this is a 1 mana 1/1. It's just 1 green. Human Peasant. But whenever you cast a creature spell that has an adventure, draw a card. And then in reminder text, it even clarifies it doesn't need to have gone on the adventure first.
Yeah.
This is basically like for adventure decks anyway. And I don't mean this is good for Commander, just to clear that up as well. For limited and probably standard, this might, well, no, not standard, but for limited, this is probably going to be all right if you have a lot of adventure cards because it's basically like a Beast Whisperer. Because you're casting the card, doesn't mean that it has to enter the battlefield, so counters or whatever. It's card advantage, and if you're running a bunch of adventure cards, so there are cards in the set. I only found 6 apparently, where adventure does kind of pay off for something. Some of the other ones are each creature you control that has an adventure comes in with an extra 1/1 counter. Whenever you cast an adventure, this creature gets 1/1/1/1 until end of turn. An artifact where if you cast an adventure instant or sorcery, copy it, and you may choose new targets for the copy. So like kind of a instant or whatever doubler. Which even that, like if you were to pay 7 mana and get 6 pairs, is that really any better? Maybe in limited, but in commander probably not.
In limited, probably.
Yeah. Target opponent reveals their hand. You choose a non-land card from it. That player discards that card. You may put a card that has an adventure that player owns from exile into that player's graveyard. So you basically get to screw them out of having the creature later on. And whenever you cast a creature spell that has an adventure, put a 1/1 counter on this creature, as opposed to the other card that just got a +1/+1 until end of turn. So yeah, those are your 6 effects, counting also Edgewall Innkeeper that benefit from adventures. I think, let's see how many adventure cards there are. There's 30 adventures in the set, which is ridiculous. I did not realize there were that many. But yeah.
One of my favorite adventure cards is actually is Merchant of the Veil.
There you go.
So Merchant of the Veil, gosh, I do love these special arts. They're beautiful.
They're good.
They're very good. But Merchant of the Veil is for an instant for your adventure. You may discard a card. If you do, draw a card.
Mm-hmm.
I'm sure we can't think of any cards where looting is good.
Yeah. Looting didn't break modern for a little while or anything.
Yeah, I mean, faithlessly when you do it, it's very good. But even this is like a mini faithless. I mean, it's not near, but it's not bad. But then you have the looting, like discard a card, draw a card on the card too. Once you cast it as a creature for 2 and a red, you can discard a card, then you can draw a card. So I just really like this. I think it could really enable some strategies. Like I could see this in like a Rakdos recursion deck and stuff like that. Which we have the
precon decks. Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, I could definitely.
This guy would definitely go in that precon deck.
Yeah. I mean I agree, and it's also the fact that it's a mana sink ability. As long as you have a card to discard, right? And you only need 1, right? So it's cool like that.
Keep on discarding and drawing that card as long as you have that mana.
Yep. I think that's pretty cool. And yeah, I mean looting effects in general are like and it's an instant speed loot too. Are all the loots instant speed? No, right? Okay.
Faithless looting isn't instant.
Okay. Yeah.
Pretty sure it's sorcery speed.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, Faithless was sorcery speed. So yeah. So I mean I don't know if it's gonna see like suddenly come up in modern because I don't know how much you want to like. I don't know if the haggle part is good enough for modern or anything like that. It's also not 2, which Faithless Looting.
I mean, I think some people might try it with Faithless Looting being gone.
Yeah, people are gonna look for their outs where they can.
Yeah.
So I do want to talk about.
I really don't. I agree with Jules. I really don't think it's good enough, but I might try it just to see what happens.
Yeah.
Uh,
Last adventure card that at least I want to talk about before we either move on to a different mechanic or just different cards in general. And it's just because I really like this one for what its adventure is. But Realm Cloaked Giant, which I haven't seen this art yet. So this is beautiful. However, comma. So, oh, it's so cool. Like the Realm Cloaked and he's picking up like the. Okay, anyway. 5 white, white. He's a mythic rare creature giant. He's a 7/7 with vigilance, which is fine as far as like costing and everything. That's not really deserving of being a mythic, but his adventure at sorcerer speed is cast off 3 white white, destroy all non-giant creatures. Out like for this set, it's not a complete and total board wipe, which it's been very rare. I can't remember the last time we just got a legit destroy all creatures board wipe in standard, but like this is kind of close, the closest thing I think we've seen. Because outside of that, it's like what citywide busts and stuff like that, where it's like this depending on like the power of toughness or power or toughness kind of thing, whether it's higher or lower than a number. So giant
tribal staple.
giant tribals. I mean,
He
maybe.
got it.
Yeah, maybe. There you go. Giant tribal. There's a bunch of giants in this set. There's also probably going to be giants in Theros because it's Greek themed and Greeks had giants and cyclopses and stuff like that. So maybe. Kaya's Wrath. Okay, there you go.
Yeah.
That was actually a good one, right? Because isn't that exile?
No, gives you life form.
Oh, okay. Boros, big creature, commander staple. I mean, Boros has a lot of giants too. I mean, Boros has the. It's not necessarily like giant tribal, but giant cost tribal anyway. Kalemne, who's a giant and gets rewarded for playing big creatures like 7 drops, like Realm Cloak Giant. Just saying.
Yeah. Kalemne staple right here.
There you go. Get it before it rises in price.
That's right.
Oh god.
You heard it here first, everyone.
Phyrexian said. Alright, so there's 2 other mechanics that are new for this set. Do we want to talk about lunch first, or do we want to talk about magical hackers' favorite thing to talk about?
When you put it that way, I think I just want to talk about lunch. Or maybe I want to talk about that first because I'm going to lose my lunch after talking.
Wow, rude. I'm gonna tell him you called him out like that.
Hey, he knows somehow.
He knows. All right, what's an adamant selection for your card? I wasn't super crazy about this mechanic.
I'm not super crazy about this mechanic either. I mean, I think that obviously Adamant's going to be good in a way for devotion and stuff like that. But
yeah. I got one.
I didn't see any cards where I'm like, yeah, being adamant really is a huge payoff here.
I got one that will probably be good in limited and maybe in standard because it ties into a staple that's already there. It's Rally for the Throne, and it is an instant speed, 2 and a white. It's an uncommon. It creates 2 1/1 white human creature tokens. And Adamant basically says if at least 3 white mana was spent to cast this spell, you gain 1 life for each creature you control. So it kind of ties into the current like white black or mono white token life gain deck that's in standard. I don't know if it's gonna like be rotating, any of it's gonna rotate out when Eldraine hits or whatever, but it does seem like it can slot in there. So Adamant is basically if you pay at least 3 of whatever color the card is, that color mana, you get an extra effect. So it's actually a little addendum-ish, if you think about it.
Yeah, that's not gonna make me like it anymore.
What do you mean?
Yeah.
So it
You know
does
exactly what I mean.
it does
Don't mention the
reward
word
you.
addendum in my presence.
It does reward you for playing monocolor, because obviously then like if you're only playing mono white, then you're gonna pay white mana for this unless you somehow pay generic mana for it. I mean generic mana. Unless you somehow pay a colorless mana for it. But yeah, like this is a card I could see at least doing something in limited, because again that deck does exist. It does alright. So Adamant was an old thing without a name. That's right. This effect has existed before in a way. I don't think it's ever been necessarily like you have to use 3 of this kind of mana, it's always been something like here's a black card, and if you pay red for it, you get an effect, or if you pay blue for it, you get an effect. Like I think that's kind of how it went before. So this is a twist on it, but it's still like the same concept. It's the same root like concept. So
Yeah, but so many of them are just bad. Like, if you spend 3 white mana, you get to put a 1/1 counter on your creature, and instead of being a 2/5 for 4, it's a 3/6 for 4. Woohoo! I mean, that's the problem. Is like I don't see like really none of the Addict cards just make me go, "Ooh, that looks really cool." That makes me want to play this card. You know?
there's the I think probably the best one is or at least the best one for commander for monocolored commander is going to be I think Clockwork Servant. And the reason why I say that is because it's not tied down to any one color. This is an artifact creature gnome. It's Cogsworth, by the way, from Beauty and the Beast. Costs 3 generic mana. It's a 2/3. It's an uncommon. It has adamant. If it enters when it enters the battlefield, if at least 3 mana of the same color was spent to cast a draw card. So it's basically like a little cantripy artifact creature, and if you can recur back to your hand, which if it's an artifact deck, is probably going to happen. So like I could see this thing playing like some red and white like artifacty decks, or even blue. Blue's kind of reaching into artifacts a lot of the time. So I think that's probably a decent ability because if you're in a monocolor deck, like why not get this thing that just cantrip a little bit, especially if you are in white or red, which doesn't draw cards as well.
Meh.
Come on, you're getting 3 mana, you're getting a body anyway. It's an artifact if you can recur it in the deck, which means if you can recur it to hand, especially, which means it's repeatable card draw.
I mean, but still,
It's
if I'm
very
being forced to play monocolor for a thing,
well. No, you're already playing this. Like this is I'm finding a niche spot for this card. I don't think most of these are all that great. Like there's a black one that's 4 mana, 3/2 menace, and it gets a +1/+1 counter on it, so it's a 4/3 menace for 4. It's a human knight, so maybe if you're doing like black knights or something, or black white knights or something, maybe. And that's another thing to think about too, is like how many of like Rakdos knights
I'm
or
quite adamant this mechanic is bad or worse than Addendum.
I would say maybe as bad because it is so niche. And the other thing that kind of sucks about this for this set is that all of these effects, unless Adamant is somehow in Theros, which I doubt, because it's usually, unless something's becoming evergreen, we don't see a mechanic repeat different worlds.
Yeah.
And again, I would,
And I really hope this is not a mechanic that becomes evergreen.
if they did more with it, I'd be fine. Like the cards, so there's 17 total Adamant cards from Eldraine with the set fully spoiled. We talked about 3 or 4, and 2 on screen and 2 other ones like we just kind of voiced about. So I mean, there's a 3 mana black one that's at sorcerer speed. Target player draws 2 cards and loses 2 life, and you get a food token if you adamant it. Like that's just not a terrible card in general. But I don't think the adamant matters.
Yeah,
Because
but
food
getting the
tokens
extra
don't matter.
food token doesn't matter that
Yeah.
much.
So they kind of
Okay.
like printed decent cards and then tried to give them a little buff. I guess is probably the best way to say it.
Now let's talk about food tokens. That's a great transition, right?
Yeah.
We
That's
just
why I
talked
did
about an Addict card that mentioned food tokens, and now let's talk about food.
it.
So what are these food tokens?
I don't know. Tell me a card that uses food tokens.
Well, we have the card that should be a legendary, right?
Oh God, yeah.
The Feasting Troll King.
I'm so mad about this. Look at that art. So mad.
Because it's for 2 and then 4 green. But it's a 7/6 with Vigilance and Trample. When it enters the battlefield, if you cast it from your hand, create 3 food tokens. So if you were playing this, like it was a legendary, you were playing it as your commander, I guess you couldn't get food tokens without somehow bouncing it back to your hand, which would be hard to do in green. Not impossible, just hard. And then sacrifice 3 foods, return it from the graveyard to the battlefield, activate this ability only during your turn.
I'm so mad His has such potential.
But it's a troll noble.
So were all the other stupid lords except for the blue one. Which I talked about last Monday, by the way. I commented the only of the lords that wasn't a noble is the blue one because he's a wizard. I'm guessing he's Merlin, but regardless. But yeah, so the food tokens are essentially pay to, I think, tap and sacrifice it. Yeah, tap and sacrifice this artifact. You gain 3 life. Not super exciting. It's
When you compare them to clue tokens, it's pretty underwhelming.
Yeah, like they're not anything special.
In a world where clue tokens didn't exist, they might not be so bad. But when clue tokens exist, it's like, really?
Yeah.
I can get better.
Yeah.
Tokens.
I guess the best thing about food tokens is kind of similar to what we were saying about adventure spells, is that there are payoff cards that use the food tokens to kind of like fuel their abilities. So like Feasting Troll King is one of them. Another one, God, what was, hold on, I gotta find it for a second. There was one in here that I thought was pretty cool. Oh, okay, there we go. Naturally, it is a Golgari card, but Savvy Hunter, I think it's pretty cool. So it's for 1 black-green. It's an uncommon 3/3 human warrior. Whenever it attacks or blocks, create a food token, sacrifice 2 foods, draw a card. That I think is a pretty cool effect. But it's mostly that, like, you have to sacrifice food tokens to get this bonus or like as an extra thing. So that's probably their best use, is like you don't really want them for the life. I guess in a pinch you can, right?
I mean, I could see situations in limited where you really need that.
Yeah.
But I don't see many situations outside of limited where you're gonna want it.
Yeah. I think it's kind of like the reverse of clue tokens, where clue tokens sometimes were good because they were artifacts and you could use that sometime. Like I've used clue tokens to feed a KCI deck, a Clarkscan Clan Ironworks.
Yeah.
I've used them to make 2 mana before. So this is kind of like the opposite effect, where like you don't really care about the effect the food token has. They are just there to be an artifact, whereas clue tokens, card advantage, were really good because yes, you could use them if you needed to, but you really wanted to draw the cards most of the time with them, or like to trigger, like not trigger, but to give you like Metalcraft or something like that.
I like Jiggle's idea too, mechanized production with food tokens.
Yeah, stuff like that.
Just do something crazy with it. Why not?
But again, like you don't care what the food token does in that instance. Clue tokens are still different. Like if I make a clue token, I'm always thinking about, that can be my extra card when I need it. Food tokens in EDH, like I'm not typically on the hook for 3 life most of the time, I think. I say that as like the next time we have a stream game and I die by like 2 health, if I had 3 more health, I would have lived.
If I just had a food token, I had that 2 mana, but I didn't have that food token.
It's kind of weird too that you have to tap them and sacrifice them. So like if there's something preventing
you gotta skin your food before you can eat it. You gotta do some prep work there.
No.
Yeah.
No.
You got look at this savvy hunter. You think she's just gonna eat all those rodents and rabbits and deer without skinning them first and cooking them up and making a good little stew?
Listen, you make some awful jokes on this podcast. You make some god awful jokes on this podcast, but stop.
People love me for it.
Why did it cost 2 mana to chow down?
Because work. Have you ever made yourself dinner, New Dark Cloud? It's work to make yourself some food. You gotta pay for that work.
Okay.
Hey, he asked the question. I just answered it.
The skinning thing was still the worst joke ever.
Oh, it was. It was terrible. But our terrible jokes are one reason people come to view us, because the jokes don't get any better, people.
I don't think that is. I think that might be why people leave.
But Rankle.
Oh yeah.
That's the reason people stay. Is for Rankle, Master of Pranks.
See, this one's just extended art, so it's like not as cool as some of the other ones. Like some of them have legit alternate art, but this is just extended art. But go
Yeah.
ahead.
He's for 2 and 2 black. He's a legendary creature. He's a fairy rogue. So you can play him as a commander. He's
Yeah.
got flying and haste. And whenever he does combat damage to players, you can choose any number of each player discards a card, each player loses 1 life and draws a card, each player sacrifices a creature.
It's really good.
Mm-hmm.
Like, this is stupid good.
He's very symmetric too.
This goes in so many decks.
Yeah.
Like, I
Charles, you're all about mono black. We know you like Rankle.
like we were just talking before about Rakdos Recursion and Chainer decks. Like, this can go in Chainer.
Yeah.
This can go probably in Anji decks.
Mhm.
Anji? Anya?
Anjay.
Angie. Oh, Angie, I think. But like, this could go in those decks. You hit somebody, right? It just deals damage. Okay. You hit somebody, you discard a madness card when Anji's untapped or tapped already. You untap her and then get to go off again. And play your madness card. So would you play him as a commander? And if so, what would the deck look like? Mean. I would probably play him in a deck that ran like Waste Not, Bone Miser,
Yeah.
and some of like the pain effects like Migrum, Liliana's Caress. And even I don't think there's a lot of black effects that when you draw like mono black effects that when you draw a card you take damage. So like Psychosis Crawler, like I think it would be kind of like a mono black Nekuzar deck. I think that's what it would wind up being. So it would be less. It would probably be like more focused on that aspect. I think I'd run some tokens. Huh? Yeah. I'd run some token creators, like Bone Miser is a token creator, right? So that I could make it so that people have a hard time keeping creatures on. Like, it's literally just resource denial, minus his middle ability. But then, like, you don't have to pick it. So you just pick top and bottom every time, and you just basically make people sad. Very sad. It's one of those things where, like, I look at it and I'm like, I kind of want to do it because it's a really sweet card and I like mono black and I like what it does. But on the other hand, I don't want to never have people to play Magic with me ever again. Waste Not belongs in his deck, of course.
Oh,
Bone
yes.
Miser too.
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess it's kind of a great Pacty deck too, if you're running tokens and stuff, because then you make people extra sacrifice, like, oh, I have to lose my zombie token that I got from Bone Miser or some shit like that, but everybody loses 3 cards because Dictate, Butcher, Great Fact.
Hit that betrays to take creatures.
Oh.
That is mean.
No.
I love it. That's mean.
Let's not. First of all right, so 1, Phyrexian, you're not allowed to play this in the streams. For 2, yes, that is still a good idea.
Yeah, that's a great idea.
Is there anything like? Is there any?
Bill says he holds swords as well.
Yeah. He could be,
especially when a feast and famine, because then you make each player discard a card, and then you make the person you hit discard a card.
Yeah.
Pick the person you like the least at the table. Don't look at me, DM. Don't look at me.
You're just the person I like the least. It doesn't have to be at any given table.
Ouch.
Are there any effects like if somebody discards a card, you get it somehow? Like basically a It That Betrays for discard?
Guess Grimoire.
Okay.
Whenever a player discards a card, you draw a card.
Okay. Yeah, like it would basically be stuff like that.
So if you run that and then you do this, each player discards a card, you lose 1 card, but then you draw 3.
Yeah. So it's basically like I feast on your famine style deck. That's what that would be. It would basically be look at all the magic I can play while you play no magic.
I can definitely see myself building a Rankle deck, but again, it's one of those decks that once you build, if you build it right, people aren't going to want to play against it very often.
So we're taking applications for a new Praetor. I'm just saying. We'll talk about it after the show.
That's why I'm not going to, but I could see myself doing it.
Yeah, I could see you doing it too, you jerk. Oh wait, I said the loud part quiet and the quiet part loud. Man,
what we got next here?
I'm gonna talk about a card. I'm gonna talk about a card, and I'm only talking about it for the art. I know I said we should do an episode entirely on the art, and we're not gonna do that today,
if
but
ever.
this particular one, and it's the regular art, not the like custom art. It's an adventure card, and I have to find it. It might be my favorite card of the entire damn set. Oh no, where is it? I can't find it. Hold on. Hold on. It's a it's based on a fairy tale. It's based on a very popular Disney movie, actually. And as soon as I find it, I'm going to think that I'm an idiot. There we go. Okay, cool. Love Struck Beast. Oh, I'm sorry. It's the alternate art that's good, not the original art. I love this art so much. Just look at it. Just take it in. Just drink it in. So for those of you watching out are listening to us in podcast land, Love Struck Beast is a rare beast noble. It's a 2 and a green for a 5/5. It does have adventure. It is Heart's Desire for 1 green at sorcerer speed. Create a 1/1 white human creature token. And then Lovestruck Beast himself says he can't attack unless you control a 1/1 creature. Doesn't have to be a human, doesn't have to be white, doesn't have to be anything else, just a 1/1 creature. I just love this art. It's obviously Beauty and the Beast, so it's Beast. Again, for those of you listening in podcast land, it's Beast, a beast looking creature sniffing a rose while there is a woman in the background in like a Belle of the Ball style dress. It's not yellow or golden or whatever the hell you want to call it, but it's just I don't know why. Like I'm not even a huge like Beauty and the Beast fan as far as Disney movies go, but I love this art. When I saw this art, I was like, this is one of my favorite cards in the whole set. I don't even care that I don't think it's particularly great outside of I don't know maybe 1/1 token decks because then you just get a 5/5 for 3 mana, but this is just I love this art so much. You like this art, Phyrexian? His mind chose solitude, but his heart disagreed. Oh.
No, the art is very beautiful. A lot of the alternate arts on these adventures is gorgeous.
Yeah.
Just in general.
One of my favorite artists is Jen Ravena, and she did one of the alternate arts for one of these, and I cannot remember which one it is. I'm gonna find it. Maybe I'll put it in Discord. Maybe I'll put it on Twitter. But it's again, it's one of those ones. It's just so beautiful. Like the art is just so good. You're like, man, this is on a Magic card. Like somebody could have done this as a. I mean, obviously did this as a painting to put it on a Magic card. But like somebody could have just done this as a painting, and I would have loved it. But it's on a Magic card. That's so cool. He needs Belle to dance the ballroom blitz. What happens when he becomes a 1/1? He's allowed to attack.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I kind of want to talk about a cycle next.
Oh. Where are we starting with this cycle?
We could just go, Wooburg order. So we could start with Sir Aileen, the Lion's Claw.
How do I? Oh yeah, Sarlene. There we go. Go for it. I'm very excited for the cycle too.
So it's for 3 and 2 white.
Mhm.
Human Knight, legendary creature with first strike, and whenever it attacks, he attacks other creatures you control, get +1/+1 until end of turn.
Yep. I'm excited for the cycle. I'm not excited for Aline.
Discard.
Yeah. This is one of I'm trying to remember. I think 2 that I am not particularly fond of. It's the same thing like I said out last Monday with the white Lord Linden. She just doesn't do enough or anything unique enough. Like this effect has existed in mono white and in Boros forever. I mean, it's
I'd be a little bit more about him if it was 1/1 counters.
yeah. Oh yeah, I agree.
Like creatures you control get a +1/+1 counter.
Yeah, I 100% agree. But the fact that it's 1/1 until end of turn, it's other creatures you control. I mean, he is a 4/4 first strike, so that's pretty cool. He's a decent costed card overall. If you have haste, he can be like used for some kind of like surprising plays. The only thing I can really think of is like with this, you do tribal knights, where a lot of knights have first strike, and then you put uh, what is it, Kuende, I think is how you say it, but the one that gives everything that you have with first strike then
That's
gets
first
double
strike, double
strike.
strike.
Yeah,
Yeah,
and like even then, I think you put Kuende as
the commander.
the commander, not Sir Alan, but that's like the best case scenario I think in a deck like this, or like maybe in the Knights and Dragon Battle Bond, Sylvia and Korvoth, maybe that because he's a knight, so Korvoth gives him haste and flying, I think, and then he can buff like all your knights and all your dragons and stuff like that. But
Yeah, but deck design. Let's face it, they got all the help they needed when they got Shram.
there are other mono white commanders. What about Teshar?
Shram. Yes, I heard you say Shram.
No, I definitely said Teshar.
Shram. Got it.
Is at best an uncommon creature that's overcosted and sad. White needs help in EDH. I long for days when White got some support in terms of the possibility commanders of the. Oh yeah, yeah. I mean, I agree. Lyndon and Sir Alan to me are just not exciting, and I think they are the only two white legendary creatures in the set. Minus if you were to count like Kenrith, but you don't because he's a 5-color commander. Um, they definitely did not get too many boons this time around. I don't think. Was there anything super crazy in War of the
White's
Stars?
been getting some love in Commander though, with cards like Smothering Tide and stuff like that. Mono White really.
Supportive cards, yeah, but
Yeah.
not good commanders.
Yeah.
Like when's the last time you saw a mono white commander and you were excited about it?
Can you say Shram?
All right. All right, so since we're going in Wooborg,
Wooberg.
Wooborg? What is that? Did I just
Wooberg.
make this a Star Trek
Wooberg.
theme?
Sir Eleonora.
Yep. The Discerning is another human knight. 3 blue, another uncommon. For the record, that's why I'm excited about the cycle. They're uncommon legendary creatures, and if you don't know, I write a series on EDH Trek called Uncommoners. It's about uncommon legendary creatures. So they will be in the series, for the record. It is a star 4 card, and its power is equal to the number of cards in your hand. Whenever it enters the battlefield, draw a card, and spells your opponents cast that target Sir Eleonora cost 2 more to cast. So I like that it's like an aggressive blue commander.
Yeah. I want to build this like mono blue card draw Voltron. Give it sort of fire and ice. Go nuts. Right?
Yeah, like if you give it evasion too, that massively buffs this up. Blue doesn't lack for ways of giving things evasion with like flying and unblockable and stuff like that. And like
Aqueous
it
form.
yeah, exactly. And I like that it's so much like I think when I first saw it, I said it embodies so much of blue wants to do, but in an aggressive manner. A lot of time blue decks will do these cool things or control or draw a lot of cards and that's great, but then what do they do unless they combo out? This is actually a chance for blue to do all these cool things and hit people in the face, and I think that's interesting in doing it in a blue way, which that's kind of what I wish white would do when it comes to like rampant card draw. Like do it in a way for white, which is exactly what Smothering Tithe was, taxes, but then give them a benefit that they don't have. In that case, it was ramp. So,
Yeah.
all
I
right.
like this card. I think it's interesting.
I would love to actually run this deck. Like if we were to do like a Knights deck for Praetor Magic or a Knights episode for Praetor Magic, I would not be against running Eleanor. I would be against running Alan, but I would not be against running Eleanor. I apologize. But moving on, I think we're both excited for the next one.
Sir Conrad?
Sir Conrad the Grim. It's your turn. You get to do the black
So
one.
for 3 and 2 black, legendary creature, still a human knight. They're all human knights. Spoiler. Whenever another creature dies or creature card is put into a graveyard from anywhere other than the battlefield, or a creature card leaves your graveyard, Sir Conrad the Grim deals 1 damage to each opponent. And then for 1 and a black, each player puts the top card of their library into their graveyard.
I want one for every deck I ever run. I'm serious. I do. The absolute thing that killed it for me for this card was, or a creature card leaves your graveyard, which means if you recur something, which means John in the chat, when you Bajuka Bog me, that damage is going to everybody. I had to check and see if it said target opponent because I was gonna say it's going to you, but it's not. It's going to everybody. So you did this. But yeah, I've complained before about how like I think Wizards is kind of like trying to kill off Reanimator because so many of the reanimation effects are now like you have to exile stuff to get something back. And like the grave hate's just been unreal. I think we even said on an episode of the podcast when we were talking about the ley lines for War of the Spark, it just seemed like, or no, I'm sorry, for M20, like it just seemed like so much grave hate exists in recent sets. It's nice to now see like this at least gives you something for it. And it's not even like the end of the game style. It's not like combo-y. You still don't get any of your stuff back, but like kind of like that last like, you know what? Sure. But everybody take 5. Everybody take 10. Everybody take however many creatures you're exiling from my graveyard. So I like that. He's an aristocrat on top of that. He's a mill card on top of that. Like, there's just so much that I love about this card. Does this thing trigger off tokens? They hit the graveyard, then exile, right? They do not, though. Because it is not a creature card. Tokens are not cards in the rule set. So, I don't know. They don't. Otherwise, it would be kind of really broken. That was a question I had to ask too, because I did not know that answer. But no, you won't.
It still gets from the when another creature dies, though.
Yes. Yeah.
It doesn't do double.
Normal aristocrat stuff, yes. The exiling out of the graveyard part, you won't get from tokens. You don't get the double dip with tokens. That would be fantastic. God, could you imagine? Stack a token, everybody take 2. Oh my god. I'd never not play this commander.
Yeah.
What are you
he's a very good card.
Well, what are you gonna like specifically do with this guy?
Put him in any aristocrat deck and be happy. I don't know that I really want to run him exclusively as a commander, but I definitely put him in like any aristocrat deck I've ever built and be excessively happy.
Yeah. I'm surprised you wouldn't. You're like not thinking about him as a commander, just to always have that effect.
Yeah. I don't know.
I need to find more room for this in my Tesla Karlov deck. That's a good point. When the creature dies thing. Yeah. That's a good point. Alright, well, I will go next since Phyrexian somehow wheels his way into getting the mono black one. And Sir Kara the Bold is of course, a human knight, as Phyrexian alluded to. It's 3 red. They all cast 3. Oh, no, they don't.
No. Not the green one.
I was about to lie to you. So this one does cost 3 red, though. It is an uncommon. Whenever she enters the battlefield, or an instant or a sorcery spell you control deals damage to a player, exile the top card of your library. You may play that card this turn. And then to tap, she's a pinger. So she deals 1 damage to any target. Again, last Monday, I talked about the Lords of the different colored courts. I think she does do really well with Torbrand, because Torbrand basically turns her into tap, lightning bolt something, and then card advantage. Red getting this exile and then play that thing, especially because they seem to have decided on play the thing, not cast the thing. That is so important so that red doesn't get screwed out of hitting its land drops even more while trying to benefit from some form of card advantage. One thing I do notice with a lot of these exile and then play effects is some of them say you can play them until your next turn or until the end of your next turn. This one does not. I think that's still fine overall, because again, this is at uncommon. But I like it. The only thing I think I would like more is if it had haste and it's in mono red. So I don't think that's actually a problem. If you're not giving it haste somehow, you're probably not playing commander right. In mono red, anyway.
I like it too, just give it death touch.
Yeah. Yeah. I did a whole article on mono blue pingers. So yeah. There's a way to infinite out and kill people apparently. But yeah. I think it's a solid card. again for mono red, like, and again, this is something like we talked about before with the white commanders. This is red getting to do a new thing the way it does it. So this is red drawing cards that it didn't have really good access to by pinging. Red pingers have been a thing for a long time. So I don't understand why we can do this with every other color. Like we got blue, which is already a strong color, to be able to be more aggressive, because we also just recently had not recently, but Tetsuko Umezawa Fugitive,
Yeah.
which is an aggressive blue deck with just 1/1s and stuff. And now like, or X1s or 1Xs, whatever.
Yeah.
And now like we have red card advantage. Like, why can't we do this with white people? You did it once with Smothering Tide, like you hit a home run and then you proceeded to get all the outs for the rest of the game. But yeah, so I like this one. I think this one is one of the better ones. This is not one of the ones that I'm disappointed in. However, if you would like to go for your last one.
Sir Farron, the Hinge Hammer, which, interesting enough, as the mono green one, is the one that costs the least. Only costs 2 mana, green. And then whenever Sir Farron, the Hinge Hammer, attacks, another target attacking creature gets +X/+X until end of turn, where X is Sir Farron's power. But it's a 2/2.
I mean,
he literally like adds nothing to it because his steed is a bear, right?
Yeah.
So he's a 0/0.
Yeah.
That's the way I see this.
No. That's a random person. Like the human knight is actually the bear.
Yeah, because I mean he's clearly a 0/0. Just doesn't matter.
He's just there to hold the hammer. That's all. Sir Farron and the Henge Hammer. Like that guy's just holding the hammer for the picture. That's all it is.
Yeah. Because it's just a 2/2. For 2 mana. With an ability, but I mean really. I mean, it's the bear.
Yeah.
This ability is not even that good because it's only one target attacking.
Yeah.
I mean, you've already had 2 green ones that do all targeted attacking creatures.
Yep.
So,
well, I mean, this is actually worse than Champion of Lambhold.
Yeah.
A card that makes itself grow and then benefits the rest of your field. It's worse than Cultivator of Blades, which is bigger than this card, or gives you attacking creatures, and can make your
also
field bigger.
Ironically cost 5 mana.
Yeah. Cultivator of Blades is the real Sir Farron.
It's the real Sir Farron. Cultivator of Blades actually is. Cultivator of Blades is actually a human knight now, not an artificer. It's a 3/3 for 5 mana. And whenever it attacks, you may have all other attacking creatures get +X/+X to end of turn, where X is his power.
Oh my god! It only took
just rewrite the card for them.
Took him 3 years to figure it out. There we go. We got there. The right set for the card. He's a good Galta. Isn't Galta a good Galta?
Yeah. Do we need a good Galta other than Galta?
I don't know. I again, like, you look at the 3.
Oh, he's good in Galta. Okay.
Oh yeah. Yeah, I would agree with that. Because then you can make Galta huge just by also making him a threat. And then, like, people have to kind of, like, threat assessment. Like, do I kill the commander? Do I kill this thing? Because the commander can come back, but this thing also reduces the cost of the commander. So, yeah, that's a good point. And it's until end of turn, so you could actually attack, give something else 2 power to reduce Galta by 2 in your second main phase.
Yeah.
But still, though, you compare, like, Sir Farron and Sir Alan to Eleonora, Kara, and Conrad. Conrad is a really solid card that does a lot. Like, he I think has the most text on his card in his 2 abilities.
Compared to this guy to Wild Beast Master or Cultivator of Blades, and you're still coming up short.
Yeah.
I mean,
and then, like, again, Kara and Eleonora give their colors something new. This does not. Like, again, we've seen this effect in green cards. White. We've seen that effect in white cards before. It's so weird when they have these sets, like, these cycles come out in sets, and it's like, here's your, like, obviously, like, cool cards, and then, like, how do you not apply that same, I don't want to say ingenuity, like there wasn't ingenuity to make these, but how do you not apply that same thought process of, here's a color, what can it do, how do we make it do that while staying in the color pie? Because I don't think they asked that question for green and white. Red, I think they did. Blue, I think they did. Black, I don't think they changed anything. They just made a solid card. I'll say that. Black does not bring anything new to black except for the Bajuka Bog punishment. But it's weird to me. Like, I imagine these cards were almost made next to each other, and you have two kind of stinkers, three cool new effects, and then one just solid card for his colors. That's just weird to me. I don't know.
Okay. Last looks, DM. If there's one card you can't leave the stream without talking about that we haven't talked about yet, what is it?
I'm gonna tell you exactly what it is, and you're gonna definitely agree with me. The Great Henge.
Okay.
I honestly like this is stupid. So the Great Henge is so there's a cycle of legendary artifacts. We're obviously gonna have to touch on the rest of them in another episode because we are gonna wrap this one up in a minute. This one is a mythic legendary artifact. It's 7 green green. This spell costs X less to cast, where X is the greatest power among creatures you control. It's in mono green. Let me just repeat that. Tap this artifact, add 2 green. You gain 2 life. So if you have a 7 power creature, this thing is essentially free and gives you 2 life on the first turn. Also, whenever a non-token creature enters the battlefield under your control, put a +1/+1 counter on it and draw a card? I'm sorry.
Hey, Jiggles, you know what's very good in Galta? This card.
This thing costs 2 mana, gives you 2 mana, 2 life, and then just starts making your stuff bigger. Like, this is ridiculous. This is like, I don't want to say this cycle is ridiculous because it was a similar effect to the Uncommon Knight cycle, but like this card is nuts.
Mm-hmm.
And obviously, we like the art, as you guys can see from the background. Every green deck is going to want a copy of this. I think it is very rare that you're going to find a green deck only in like token decks. That's the
I think Elves doesn't.
Yeah,
there are going to be some. I think Elves is one of them.
That card draw is going to be so good though because Elves can ramp up on their own. So even if you had to cast this thing for 9, which is going to be almost never in a mono green deck, even if you cast this thing for 7, right? So Elves are sometimes 1/1s or 2/2s. So let's say Azuri, who's a 2/2, right? You cast this thing for 7. You're really casting it for 5 because you get 2 mana back the second you cast it. And then the next, like, so you put down 2 1/1 elves that each cost 1 green. You just drew 2 cards and made 2 1 mana 2/2s. Right?
Mm.
Like, that's just value.
I don't think I run it now, still.
I don't know. That
maybe in like a Marwyn, which I run Marwyn Elves, so maybe in a Marwyn because those get big that it might be cheap to play, but
I don't know. The boost to your creatures, because elves are already small, so like just getting them to be a little bit more dangerous just naturally, because a lot of elves tend to be like until end of turn effects, right? Like you win with a Crater Hoof, you win with Azuri's second ability, you win with even Triumph of the Hordes, right? I think I've won elf games with Triumph of the Hordes. Those are temporary effects. This is just putting a counter on it and drawing a card. And elves, not all elf decks, I should say, are token decks. So, like, a lot of times you're going to hit that card draw. It's green card draw. And it rewards you for playing mono green too. Because mono green has some of like the big stompy cards. And like you even said it, Galta. This Galta loves this thing. If Galta's out, it's super easy to put out. If she's not out, it gets you toward putting her out because you're already playing big creatures. Goreclaw buffs creatures until end of turn, so your 4/4s are 5/5, so now it's reduced by 5 instead of 4. And again, when it comes down, you get 2 mana back. It doesn't enter the battlefield tapped. It doesn't hurt you for tapping it. It gives you 2 mana. You gain 2 life automatically. Like, you just tap this thing just to gain life. It's an artifact, so there's untapped shenanigans. Like, this is just so dumb. And, like, a good
it's
way.
a very, very good card.
Yeah. It's very obviously a mythic card. I think they all were, which, for what it's worth, I don't think they all should have been mythics. But yeah. I think this is a great card. All right. You last call. You got 5 minutes
Alright.
to gush.
This is more just because I want to run this card in a deck I have
Mm.
because I think it just makes for good jokes.
Oh god.
Witch's Oven.
Okay.
Do you know where I'm going with this?
Yeah, I think you're dumb, but okay, go ahead.
Witch's Oven is for 1 mana, it's an artifact, and then you can tap and sacrifice a creature and create a food token. And if the sacrifice creature's toughness is 4 greater, you create 2 food tokens instead. But all I really want to do is put this in my Atla Palani deck and then take my egg and cook it and make food out of it. That's all I really want to do.
I hate you so much.
I would take this card, put it in the deck just for the reason that I can cook my eggs and make food. And also get giant creatures when I do. But I just want to cook my eggs and make food.
How do you cook? How do you cook and pop out tentacle monsters and flying dinosaurs? What happens
I don't
in
know
the
how I do
Fletchling
it,
Walker house?
but I do it with the Witch's Oven in the next iteration of that deck. Witch's Oven will replace Calling Deus, and it'll be in the deck. Even though I don't think it's as good as Calling Deus.
It's a decent. I think it's a lateral move.
I mean, pretty much, except Calling Deus does eventually can draw you cards for the creatures you sacrifice, which I think probably makes it a little bit better than the food tokens. But this is just so flavorful, I have to do it.
I hate you.
Because I'm going to take my eggs and cook them and make some food and get a giant fish monster or squid tentacle monster.
I wasn't kidding about, like, we'll take applications here. I'm not joking. We have an opening coming up. Oh my god.
I'm taking half the giant squid monsters out, okay? All the ones with Annihilator I'm going to take out, because that was just not fun.
Yeah, if you guys missed our stream on Saturday, we got to see Phyrexian deck play twice. In basically a goldfishing match.
Yeah, I mean...
Yeah, wasn't it?
I think I think Patrick blowing up his lands with his own generous gift was pretty much the reason I got to goldfish the second game.
I laughed at it at the time, and then I realized later that it was probably really messed up to laugh. But like I saw it happening, and I'm like, oh, honey.
Yeah, I saw it too. I'm just like, oh, did he just? Oh no. Because I remember first playing MTGO, or even sometimes still playing MTGO, where you don't like the triggers don't happen in the order that you think they're going to happen.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
And it's like, did I really just target my own thing?
Yep. I forget, like even stuff like Goblin Bombardment.
Yes.
That's one, because it's like, oh, pick the card you want to ping, and then pick the card you want to sacrifice, and you're like, but the sacrifice is the payment, isn't that?
Yeah.
Shouldn't
I be paying first before I get to target?
I'm 99% sure I've done that like a half dozen times, and I play the card a lot.
Like, yeah, I've definitely done that a lot too.
Yeah. So, but on that note, what we're talking about as we're going to wrap this stream up is that for those of you who have been with our kind of content for a long time, we used to have a series on YouTube called Magic Online Commander League. The last time the last episode of the second season came out, we said we were never going to do Magic Online Commander League again. The reason why that is that we have changed it to where we are streaming those games live and then putting them up on YouTube, and we're just calling it Commander Online because you guys get to hang out and watch us play and punt and be salty and wretched to each other all live. We're going to be doing those on the first and third Saturday here at twitch.tv.
Generous gift our own lands.
On twitch.tv/Praetor Magic. It's going to be 9 p.m. Eastern time, which is just going to be our probably standard time to start anything because all of our kids get to go to bed, for those of us who have kids. And then we don't have to watch the bad language and yelling at each other as much as we would if they were around. Also, I didn't say it at the beginning of the stream because the whole new intro part is still kind of new to me, but we do want to remind you guys we are sponsored by our friends over at inkgaming.com. Make sure you are using the affiliate links down below the video and in the podcast descriptions and also below the stream to order your custom playmats, dice bags, and everything you could possibly think of for your gaming experience. Make sure you're also using our Praetor10 coupon code. That's PRAETOR10. That will get you 10% off your purchase as a thank you to you for supporting us. You can also support us directly via patreon.com/Praetor Magic for just starting at $1 a month, and you get kind of access to seeing my article's on EDH Rec early, a snippet of it. You get to talk to us early. You get to help us out with if we have video ideas or anything like that. If you connect your Patreon to your Discord account, and you'll get into the Phyrexian arena, which is the subs and Patreons only area. And on that note, you can also follow us on Facebook.com/PraetorMagic, Twitter.com/PraetorMagic, YouTube.com/PraetorMagic, Twitch.tv/PraetorMagic, Instagram.com/PraetorMagic, and via the Discord link down below the video.
Which is not Praetor Magic, because Discord is dumb in some ways.
Because for some reason, discord.gg/PraetorMagic, just you have to be a partner and have like 1 million people on your server. So we'll get there one day, I'm sure. And join us not this Saturday, next Saturday, the 5th, for our live stream game. Next Monday for another episode of Reflections of the Council. And I think that's all we got.
That's all I got.
You don't want to shout out your social media?
Come find me on the Discord. It's the only place you can find me.
All right, guys. This has been a fun stream. We hope you enjoyed it. We will probably talk a little bit more about Eldraine because, I mean, at the very least, we have to explain the legendary artifact cycle for next episode. But hopefully after that, we can get to maybe something new, maybe back to a deck brew, something like that. Who knows? Maybe every once in a while we'll even
do a deck brew around one of the legendary artifacts.
All right. First of all, stop having good ideas. Second of all, who knows? Maybe even like one time we'll do like we should do every once in a while like a reflections challenge where like we like 1v1 with other people's decks, because 1v1 shouldn't take long. And if people can submit a deck, maybe we'll do that as like a Patreon perk. $5, you can submit a deck to us and we'll play it against each other, or 2 decks and we'll play them against each other on the reflections.
Battle to the death.
Your death, maybe.
Probably.
All right, guys, that is all we have for you this Monday. We hope you enjoyed it. We did enjoy talking with you guys and gushing over cards like a bunch of nerds, especially Lovestruck Beast because it's the best one. And that's all we got. Peace.